biological of a disorder, as is diabetes, as we'll see, a very different type of biology. Nonetheless, we are talking about metabolic disease. Next critical point, if you learn about this and all you learn is the biology, the breakdowns, the hormones, and the genes,
go ahead, keep coming!
What all of that, you will never be able to take on. You're going to get nowhere at all. Now, the third point is, why argue that this is one of the worst of all diseases? And this sort of revolves around this totally bizarre thing that humans do. You've got terminal cancer, you've got crippling heart disease, loss of limb, whatever, and your find silver linings in these occasions. This is when you realize how much family means to you. This is where you realize you have found your God. This is whatever. We are capable of pulling satisfaction, pleasure, reward, contentment out of the most awful circumstances on earth. Just ask anyone who came out of a concentration camp feeling like in some ways they were still glued together as person. Humans can make the best of horrible situations. We can look on the bright side. Depression is a disease where you can no longer look on the bright side. And what could possibly be worse than that? And if I had to define depression in a single sentence, I would say it's a biochemical disorder with genetic components whose primary manifestation is you lose the ability to be awed by rainbows and sunsets. So that makes for a pretty bad. Now, just starting off, before we begin looking at the symptoms, some jargon. Yes, all of us get depressed. Everybody gets depressed in an everyday sense. Some disappointment happens, something unrequited, whatever. And what you wind up seeing is typically come out the other end. And we heal. And what you see instead with the depression we'll be talking about today is not, oh, I've been dead on that with a friend, and the next day I just felt kind of mopey. This is a major biological disease that destroys people's lives. And once again, one of the leading causes of medical disability on this planet, unfortunately, wow, funny day, I feel depressed. And depression as a biological disorder use the same term, but we are only talking about this massive medical malady here. Okay, so we start off before getting into the biology. What does the disease actually look like? The defining symptom of depression is anhedonia. Hedonism, the experience of pleasure, anhedonia, the inability to experience pleasure. And this is what the disease is all about. Something wonderful happens, you feel nothing. It is just a flatness, it is emptying. This is the symptom that makes this among the worst diseases out there. We're going to get to how much more subtle stuff is going on than just the inability to feel pleasure. In addition, people with major depression are overwhelmed often by a sense of grief about things. Trauma just resonates over and over. A sense of guilt over imagined wrongs you did at some point. A sense of guilt, and one of the most pernicious versions is, I've been so fortunate, I've been given so many gifts, I'm so privileged, all of that. Look at me wasting my life away feeling sad and feeling guilty as a result of that. Now, another realm of symptoms of depression can really inform you. Oh, what's depression about? It's a disease of mood problems. It's also a disease of cognition, of thinking. And that winds up being really informative in the lecture to come. cognition on the simplest, like white bread level. Depression involves cognitive problems. People's focus go out the window, executive function, working memory, things like that. That's all the usual. What we're going to wrestle with coming down the line is when somebody is not as good at remembering 8-digit numbers or whatever, is because their cognition is compromised with depression, or is because they're just not motivated. Why bother? Now, the realm in which depression is problematic cognition leads us into the work of one of the giants in the field, this guy Aaron Beck, who framed depression as a disorder of cognitive distortion. Not just of negative mood, not just an absence of positive mood, but depression as a disorder of cognitive distortion. What did Beck mean by this? And his insights became the backbone of arguably the most effective type of psychotherapy for depression, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. What is the cognitive distortion there? Yes, something awful happened to you. It's true, it's real, it's upsetting, but that's not the end of the world. And that's not your inevitable future. And that's not the rest of your life. And people with depression distortively overgeneralize the negative into a worldview, as Beck termed it, into a depressive triad, a negative triad, a depressive worldview about yourself, about the world, and about the future. So what does this look like when you see this in all sorts of cognitive realms? You ask somebody to remember things, tell me about this year from school when you were a kid or whatever, and depression, you disproportionately come up with negative memories. You give somebody a whole bunch of things to memorize, and you disproportionately remove the negative ones. You have a bias towards consolidating more negative memories. You interpret the things going on around you. You look at a picture of an absolutely neutral face, and you're asked to describe the mood of that person, and you have a bias in the direction of negativity. Your sensory processing even shows that. Where you look, you show somebody pictures, and there's a negative one where it's a sad context, positive one where the eyes go in a fraction of a second. That bias, this negativity bias of memory retrieval, memory consolidation, interpretation of things, where you're looking to get sensory information from, this is permeating the disease. Now, another way of describing this cognitive deficit in depression is people fail to be able to do reappraisal. You feel bad about something, you get a bad result on the test or whatever, and a very healthy response is to reappraise, saying, okay, maybe I'm not so good at organic chemistry after all. Maybe you begin reappraising, I wasn't so good on that particular day. Maybe it has something to do with I got very poor sleep. Maybe what I should keep in mind is there's a whole lot more to life than we're getting in the industry. You are changing your interpretation of the situation in a way to escape the negativity. People with depression have huge problems with reappraising a negative circumstance like that. Now, an interesting thing with this, in terms of people with depression having this more negative interpretation of the world, this really striking thing is, some of the time, by having a more negative interpretation, they're more accurate. They're more correct. And this has given rise to a soundbite in the field. Sometimes people with depression are sadder but wiser. Because you look at your average person, and they are, on the average, delusionally over-optimistic when you ask people what's the likelihood of this thing happening, this great thing, or that sort of stuff, and you see that people with depression are way more accurate. Okay, wait a second. I was just talking a few minutes ago about the cognitive problems, the distortions in depression. Something awful happened then in the past. past, you distort it from your decide this has to be your future. You're distorting stuff. Yet here, people with depression are being more accurate than the average person. It's evaluating things in the world around you. When it's a distant thing, when it's an emotionally detached thing, people with depression are often sadder but wiser in terms of having more accurate, more realistic assessments about how the world actually works. Okay, so that's looking a little bit at the cognition. Another major feature of depression as a symptom is rumination. You ruminate like a cow chewing its cud. You ruminate it. You can't stop the sad thoughts. You can't stop the negativity. You can't dig your way out of this sad thing reminds you of that sad thing, and you are just mired in it. It's really interesting neurobiology. We're going to hear about a part of the brain called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. What that one's really good at is helping you control your thoughts. And what you see is the DLPFC has to work especially hard in people with depression when you say to them, tell me about a happy childhood memory. It's really got to work to overcome the rumination. Likewise, this part of the brain has to work really hard when you're trying to stop the negative affect, the negative emotions. This, and we're going to be looking at this part of the brain which atrophies, becomes less active in major depression. This part of the brain has a whole lot to do with that hellish symptom of depression. You can't stop the negative thoughts. They just go on and on and on, and they won't stop. Now, another bunch of symptoms fall under this umbrella term called psychomotor retardation. Back to major depression is not, oh, come on, just stop babying yourself. Major depression is a real disease. People with major depression, their bodies work differently. Even when they're asleep, even when they're anesthetized, underlining again, this is a real biological disorder. And the psychomotor symptoms that you see in depression that sort of underline this begin to tell you what's going on. Psychomotor, you slow down. Your sensory processing speeds are impaired. Everything is exhausting to do, to think, to say, to get up in the morning and brush your teeth and figure out where you left the car keys. Everything is exhausting, overwhelming. What becomes the issue that we will get to is this because you just don't have the energy to do whatever? Or is this because you just don't have the motivation? Why bother? Very intertwined there. Now, along with that comes what are termed vegetative symptoms, where the body is working differently. People with major depression, their patterns of sleep are disrupted. Yeah, big surprise. We all have trouble falling asleep if we're depressed about something. With major depression, people tend to wake up earlier than normal, early morning awakening. Moreover, you get someone when they're asleep and you put on like these EEG probes, and what you will see is the structure, the architecture of sleep. We go through different sleep stages and cycles of that. It's disrupted. The person is sound asleep and their brain is working differently at that point. What you also see is appetite is altered. Lots of us, when we're depressed in an everyday sense, that's the time to eat Cheetos or Oreos or whatever, because high fat, high starch can decrease stress in us, and people actually understand how that works. Major depression, the tendency is towards loss of appetite, loss of the pleasure from food, part of the anhedonia, part of the vegetative symptoms of the body there. Big surprise, something else that goes down the tube is libido, interest in sex, sexual arousal, sexual appetitiveness, motivation, appetite, all of that. Like if you were just mired with endless sad thoughts that won't stop, sex is kind of far down in your list. Okay, what else is going on? Of course, embedded in all of this is the true nightmare of major depression, which is suicidality. and self-harm. And major depression, because of this, is one of the most life-threatening diseases on this planet. Statistics: women with depression tend to attempt suicide much more frequently than men. Men with depression tend to succeed at it much more frequently than women. What's your classic profile of impulsive suicidality? Older, white guy, poorly educated, low socioeconomic status, who has access to the hand. Now, a really interesting thing about depressive suicidality, you get somebody who is massively depressed, and they're in your ward in your psychiatric hospital, and you say, oh my God, they're so depressed, and depression is associated with suicide. You really need to keep an eye on this person to make sure they don't. That's not when you worry about suicide with somebody with major depression, because this is somebody who's paralyzed with psychomotor retard. This is somebody who has to fight to get out of bed in the morning. They are so much a blind shrimp sitting there without any means of mobilizing. This is not someone who's going to figure out how to shred the mattress to make a noose or something like that. That's not when people are most at risk. You take someone who is severely, deeply depressed, and you start treating them with meds, whatever, we'll get to that, and they begin to get better. And in some cases, the psychomotor energy comes back. In some cases, the person is still feeling the depression, but they get it together enough, or mobilized or activated enough to go and kill themselves. This is when there is the danger of suicidality. Now, one other feature of depression, when you look at the psychomotor stuff, the person can't get out of bed, they're totally exhausted, and you're thinking of them as, again, being like some sort of invertebrate melting over the edge of the bed or something. You look at heart rate, you look at muscle tone, you look at various problems going on in there, and what depression is about is chronic activation of the neurochemistry of stress, of arousal, of vigilance, and we are going to see lots more about that. You are, if anything, that psychomotor exhaustion is coming from the fact that there is a battle going on 24/7 inside your head, and no wonder you don't have the energy to get up in the morning, or let alone get up and put on a happy face. Okay, another thing that underlines, we're talking about biology here, is there's more than one type of major depression. It comes in different flavors. One classic dichotomy, which people argue whether it actually is valid or if it's all on a continuum, that sort of thing, is the difference between reactive depression. Something bad happens, everybody feels crummy, and most people get better over the subsequent weeks, but some people sink into a major depression. That's reactive depression versus an endogenous depression. Somebody falls into a depressive episode and nothing bad has happened to them. Other versions, subtypes of depression. There's a subtype called atypical depression that is just dominated by the psychomotor stuff. These are people who are just doing anything is overwhelming. They're less concerned, less bothered with the anecdotal rumination, all of that. And really interestingly, atypical depression seems to have not biological problem with chronic fatigue syndrome. Interesting. At first hints now that there may be some similarities with variants of long haul COVID, the type that is still flattening years later. So there's atypical depression. Then there's psychotic depression, people who are so intensely delusional, and we will see sort of what that may be about, that they begin to be seriously thought disordered. I know this great promotion I just got here to follow me at some point, that's cognitively distorted. That's not delusional in the sense of psychotic depression. Some people may remember this heartbreaking case, this woman, Andrea Yates, a number of years ago, who in a severe psychotic post-punctuation depression drowned her children. And it took a number of trials for somebody to figure out this was somebody with a severe disorder. Why did she drown her children? She was a fundamentalist Christian and raised in a school of thought that merely by birth her babies were nearly, certainly dead to go to heaven this way, and drowning them would save them before they had the chance to become sinners. This is what psychotic depression looks like, because this is absolutely what she believed when she did this, and heartbreaking for everyone concerned. Different subtypes of depression. There are ones that have rhythms to that. There are rhythmic depressions where somebody has a depressive 2 or 3 weeks that are kind of incapacitating, goes away on its own, comes back after on its own, and just cycles like that. Another version is people who get depressive episodes only at certain times of years. What are called seasonal affective disorders, and it's mostly about people who fall into their annual depression each year during the winter months. Look at this. You got somebody where something awful happens to them in July, and they have a reactive depression. They feel awful. It's upsetting, whatever, and they see that this is not all of life, and they come off the other end. And then comes January, where everything's perfectly fine, yet for the 8th year in a row, they fall into a major depression and need to be hospitalized. Rhythms. And it turns out this seasonal affective disorder, SADS, these winter depressions seem to have a lot to do with light exposure, a hormone called melatonin relevant to it. Okay, what's the main point here? You take somebody who has a different subtype of depression, and it's neurochemically different from somebody with a different subtype. You take somebody where things are awful in the summer and they cope, and things are great in the winter and they wonder. You're looking at not just a disease, you're looking at a whole family of diseases in this case. It's biological. This is, oh, come on, stop babying yourself. Now, one additional point in terms of the presentation of depression, which is depression very often goes hand in hand with an anxiety disorder. Now, what's that about? Anxiety, hyperarousal, a physiological state of agitation, a sense of forbidding, sort of anxious apprehension, as I check the exact term. And what you see is about 50% of people with major anxiety disorder, particularly social anxiety, also have clinical depression. 50% of people with clinical depression also have a major problem with anxiety. The two of them overlap in all sorts of interesting ways. One way in which this has been interpreted is that these are both diseases of anhedonia. It's not fun having sad thoughts going through your head nonstop. It's not fun being anxious 24/7. What's the difference? Anxiety is anhedonia in a hyper-aroused vigilant state. Depression is anhedonia without that. Now, some more hints about this come from the fact that most often the anxiety comes first. One interpretation of this, which is you could think of anxiety as this hyper-aroused, frantic, urgent state like a brush fire, that anxiety is just little flames popping all over the place, and what depression is about is something responsive. What depression is a big old thick blanket that you throw on top of the fire to take the air out of it. Depression as a trying to contain the anxiety-related agitation by just flattening you out. That's one way of thinking about it that is metaphorical in lots of ways. What that maps onto is another feature that you see with this transition of starting with anxiety and leading into depression. Anxiety, there is some upsetting challenge going on in lots of cases. You're a rat, you're a human, or you're a shark, whatever. And what the anxiety is about is you're trying to cope. You try to cope 11 different ways at once, most of which are mutually contradictory. You keep trying to cope when the challenge is long over with this agitated attempt at give me some control so I can make this challenge go away. What depression then is about is when you've given up. The challenge is still there, and you don't even bother. And we're going to be looking at this transition in psychology section. Anxiety is about really maladaptively trying to cope. Depression is about you've learned to be helpless. You've learned to be hopeless. And in circumstances where you could cope and you could make things better, you don't even try. Or if you stumble into doing it and it works, you don't even notice that it worked. So this heavy intertwining between depression and anxiety, I'm not going to be talking about the biology of anxiety today. Okay, so we've gone through the symptoms, the comorbidities, all of that. What's going on in the brain during major depression? We start off with what's the neurochemistry, the brain messages of depression. So for this, we've got to have the initial sort of slide that everybody taking neuroscience 101 is exposed to, a picture of the synapse. You've got two neurons, one neuron sends out projection to the other one has projections out this way, and information flows from the first neuron to the second one. The first neuron hears some exciting gossip and it gets all excited, a cell's version of getting excited, and it in turn passes on the excitation to the next neuron along the gossip's first. Now what you see in the diagram, actually this one has just a few circles, so I'm not sure if I'm pointing to the diagram or not, but in any case, what you see is between those two neurons, they don't actually touch. There's a gap in between called the synapse. What that means is the excitation in the first neuron on the left, all neurons go from left to right, the excitation coming down this way can't easily jump over the synapse and get the next neuron excited. The excitation, which is electrical, has to be translated into a different form of excitation. The first neuron there releases a chemical messenger that floats across the synapse and binds to specialized receptors there. And as a result, this neuron has now heard the gossip. These chemical messengers that are released called neurotransmitters. And they're going to be real pertinent very soon to making sense of major depression. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping stuff, because that's going to be pertinent also. The first neuron is totally excited about whatever news and dumps a whole bunch of neurotransmitters into the synapse, and they float across and they interact with receptors there, and they pass on the message, and that's terrific. What happens to those neurotransmitters afterward? Because they eventually come off these receptors and they're just floating around in the synapse. You gotta clean up after yourself. And most broadly, there's two ways that neurons do this. The first one is if they're being ecologically minded, they recycle the neurotransmitter. That first neuron, the presynaptic neuron, has these specialized pumps that will get the neurotransmitter in here that's done its job and pump it back in so you can reuse it. Or you can be totally wasteful and sitting around in the synapses some enzyme that breaks the neurotransmitter down and you toss it in the garbage. What's the garbage here? It gets into the synapse and then into the general brain and then your cerebrospinal fluid and your blood and your urine so that people could measure levels of neurotransmitter breakdown products in your pee and get some sense of what's going on up there. Okay, so first neuron is excited, releases neurotransmitters, that gets the next one excited. Or a twist on our story that can make the neuron here less excitable, an excitatory neurotransmitter or an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and then afterward you clean up either with reuptake or degradation. So with that in hand, we now look at particular neurotransmitters. And the one that comes up over and over and over again is serotonin. 25 years ago, people would talk about this, and maybe serotonin would be the second or third neurotransmitter on the list. It is the number one neurotransmitter on the list. Serotonin, because the most effective class of...
Hold your ground, limit their advance. Understood.
This shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, that was a lot, even for me. But actually, it wasn't a lot. It was just a lot to watch and play at the same time because he does have diagrams up. So I want to go back and like, oh my, really focus on some of the, I guess, anatomy of the brain that he was sharing in the diagrams. They seem useful, worthwhile endeavors. What's going on in here? I played a little bit earlier today. I didn't play long. Oh my. And so I don't really feel warm right now, but I'm starting to warm up a little bit. It definitely helps not trying to process dense material with imagery and whatnot while trying to save my life. Play for my life. Let me get some music on. Do y'all care about that shit? BBL Drizzy. I think that's what we need to focus on. Alright, where am I? Okay. Don't leave upstairs. Oh. Sorry, that was probably loud. Turn it down a bit. I kind of want to push, but hey, I'll be smart, wicked smart. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh. Nitro winner. Shoot him in the back fat. Oh my. Oh. Oh, not next. I'm surrounded.
That's it.
Gonna get a little creative.
Oh, that sounds good. Without her makeup, you know her makeup. She's nice. I'm hella late. Oh my. Oh, I looked away and missed my reload. Is this game over?
Enemy spotted.
Is anybody watching this side?
Come on.
Why no points? Oh my. He's gonna be upset about that. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I was hoping for some more ammo, but I guess I have it.
Eyes on target.
Sweet.
Oh, he was looking at me. Nice shot. Nice fucking shot, huh? You fucking guy with the fucking torque bow here.
Hey, it's me.
When do you learn to shoot like that? Got it.
But she's on she's on
Victory! One of our coalition's finest traditions. You've done us all proud today.
That feeling is 11-11. And next song, next caller, please. Nah. Crackish. Awaken, awaken. Take the land that must be taken. Take the land that must be taken. District Abi. And awaken.
Rip this land from their pathetic grasp.
We will bring us death.
Figured as much. La-da-dee, la-da-da, la-da-dee, la-da-da, la-da-dee, la-da-da. Ouchies. Excuse me. I don't like that at all. You win those, I believe you. What's going on over here? You did good, son. I'm going next. Take my talents to South Beach. Behind me. Oh my. This is not good. I got my yoga pants.
I see the enemy.
What are you doing? What are you doing? On your business. Where's the... Yeah, that guy. Or is it another different guy? Do we have heal at least? Nope. I'm coming. Give me this. I like it. Ow. Oh. Poorly. Fucking poorly. Oh shit. I changed my sticks. I feel my sensitivity is way off now. I gotta adjust. Somebody over there is hurt. He doesn't live. Yep. There's a fine line between me. Hi, why did I heard him charging it. I don't know why I put my head up. But I'm still on it, baby girl, on it. Damn, we just got ran through all because of my dumb ass. Oh my. Anything up? No? Why are you pushing me? Sloppy mechanics there. I tried to back in and continue moving over, but perhaps I shouldn't have just pushed that in the first place. Maybe that's something to think about. I don't know. Whatever.
You will all die. Glorious.
I deserve that. Good shit, Paulie.
Well done.
Fucking Paulie. Use her hair. Cat. Okay. Please put that thing down.
You do not know your place in this world.
Oh yeah. Does that hurt?
Acquired.
No fucking choke master flex. Yep, not helping my team at all. Oh my.
Incoming frag.
Oh, that's too bad. Come on, brother. You. I hit it from the back. I never know.
I'm enjoying this. Quite a bit.
Oh.
Kill this, motherfuckers.
Yeah, 79. What are you doing, bro? Well. Oh, what a choke.
Allow me to adjudicate this matter.
Fuck. Fuck. Oh, somebody behind me. Ah, man. What are we doing, gents? That's just not it. No, where did everyone? Oh, sweet fucking baby. There you go. There you go. Just.
Never stood a chance.
No fucking. I'm not even going up there. It's too.
I have
Did we get Empire? We did. Lovely. I'm out of here.
Away with you.
That's lovely. Where are you going exactly? You want to shoot from the side, maybe? Oh, we can't. Somebody's over there. Oh, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that, I should say. But yeah, let's put that M-bar to work. Why don't we? You can shoot fucking elbows and shit. Oh my god. Gotta be honest, I'm not in the mood to play anymore. Team. Sweet fucking Jesus. I accept ownership. I could have turned my music down, picked up footsteps, but damn it, bro. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I got stuck on every fucking corner on the way over there. Yep. Okay, naturally. Yep.
Splendid.
Wow.
The machinations of the humans now lie.
Why do I even fucking bother? Jesus Christ. It's my fault. I suck, so let's just stay at spawn.